create and build systems, structures that are challenging and labor intensive to set up in the beginning. It takes a lot of focus, planning, strategy, forethought, and organization. A lot of consistency and taking action at the top. And then these systems begin to work for us. They bring ease and flow and order into our lives. And they stamp out unnecessary chaos. They also put up a Saturnian boundary, keeping rancid types of chaos at bay, away from us in our lives and lifestyle that we prefer to experience and enjoy in our realities and our environments. A few examples of creating and building systems. La Negra and Niña Dorada together, specifically La Negra, would like to give certain examples. One is she's reminding me of when I lived in Los Angeles and I was in the entertainment industry. I set up for myself an incredible, clear example of a working system. So when we receive residuals checks, any kind of checks from jobs that we do as on-camera talent, there are SAG dues that have to be paid. Now it's after SAG, but that is a union, and the dues depend on how much we made that year. There is a percentage. So sometimes people, it's a lot like taxes. And sometimes people, when their after SAG dues would be needing to be paid, and we receive the bill in the mail, sometimes people would come up short because they hadn't planned for it, for the expense. So what I would do, and I owned property also, so what I would do with all of these expenses is I had different bank accounts. I had probably about 4 different bank accounts. And one of my accounts was for periodic expenses. This would be things like car repair, things that I didn't have to pay every month, but they would come up every so often, something like my after SAG dues. Insurance, car insurance. We pay car insurance every 6 months to a year in advance, right? Instead of monthly. We find that when we pay in advance, we also save money, right? So, for example, Amazon Prime or a subscription or a Canva subscription, right? Even a Squarespace website subscription, that all is when we pay for a full year. Even Grammarly, we pay for a full year and then it costs less. It's costly. Santissima saying straight up, she's going to say it costs more to be poor and to have a poor mindset and mentality. It costs us more money. Now, she's not shaming anybody in that state, of course. She's simply stating facts and giving everyone something to work toward and for. Now, she's talking about people who already have plenty of money, tons of money, but they don't have health. This is another system that can be built, is health. She would like for me to share what I'm doing with my health. So I studied with a nutritionist for at least 5 years. I know a lot about health. However, the main thing of it is creating a system and then maintaining it. So it becomes like breathing, second nature. We just do it all the time, right? So a habit could be a morning routine. A habit could be an evening routine, a nighttime routine. So a morning routine for me looks like I get up, I pray, I do my prayers, I deep breathe to get oxygen in my body. You know, you can get up and move your body. I drink salt water, so filtered water with salt in it that actually hydrates the body properly. And then there's this gut shot that I take, not every day, but when my body requires it. And I will actually teach on this channel how to make that gut shot. I'm going to be talking more. Santa Muerte is like, hello. We are going to be talking more about health. So take the gut shot, and I have a smoothie, a specific green smoothie, and then I could eat something healthy, right? That is an idea of a morning routine. Some people would add something in there like scripting. They like to do specific manifestation techniques, things that help them in the morning. Or, for example, taking that first hour. It's called the golden hour. We take a golden hour where we don't touch our phones, where we read, maybe go outside and walk, take a walk and exercise. We stay off of electronics. We don't think about our career or what other people need from us. We take that hour for ourselves. Maybe we have, a planner, a journal that we hand write in, or we do morning pages. Morning pages are from The Artist's Way, a book called The Artist's Way. Excellent, excellent practice. My mother taught me to do morning pages when I was very young. They're super, super helpful. This is a morning practice. Some people will do some kind of Tai Chi or some kind of body movement or strength training, and that's part of their morning routine. And this is a system that we create and we build out. When I say create, the creation process would be like we sit down and we brainstorm and we decide what we're going to actually do, and then we would narrow it down in a strategic plan. And then say, for example, we're working on health, then we would go and buy all of the necessary products, or we would get our money right and get our money together and save our money and then buy the products. And then we set up the system where we're doing it every day. And maybe that looks like having a calendar, a wall calendar, where we buy some gold stars or different colored stars. And every time that we do it, we give ourselves a little star so that we feel like we've made progress. Right? Or we write it every day in the calendar and then cross it off when we've done it, that kind of thing. And we refer to the calendar every day. Or we have a journal that we put it in, right? Some kind of daily planner, and we do it that way. Something to keep us accountable. We can also have a little mastermind or with one other person or more. 2 or more people can create a mastermind where we meet with them weekly, or we have an accountability buddy or group, something like that, so that we actually take action. Now, sometimes people can also do, say, if they have a blog and they do this written form, or if they have videos and they do this in a vlogging kind of form, they can do reels on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And they could do, say, a 30-day deep dive where they do a video about this every day and show themselves doing this new routine, this new system and structure to hold themselves accountable. And they do it in front of their audience. Whether we have a larger audience or not, it doesn't really matter. It is just something where we constantly show up. And what this does is, of course, it creates a habit where we're always doing it. So La Negra is talking about having a foundation where we have created and built, and then we maintain with consistency systems, structures that work for us, that become well-oiled machines. So again, going back to this whole after SAG thing, I would, every time I received a check, a deposit from a job that I did, then I would take a percentage of that. And I always put in, I had a specific bank account that I would put that money into, and I always put more than I needed to. More than the actual percentage. So I would have a buildup there. So do that the same with savings, whether we're saving 10% of what we receive or 20%. It's the same with being devoted to La Santa Muerte, and we give her a tithe, we give her 10% or whatever we've spoken about with her, maybe more, as a thank you to her, whether we keep that on our altar in a little box, in a money box for her, or we keep it in a bank account, whatever you have worked out with her and negotiated. That is the system. That is the structure. And that what that does is it builds and it builds and it builds, where life becomes so much easier. I remember one time I got into some car accidents. Like, people hit me. But I didn't worry about it because I had saved money and I had my insurance deductible. No problem. Because I was in that habit of just every time I got checks, I would put money away. And when I had surplus of money, I would put that away. But I had to work at the beginning. I read a bunch of financial books. Right? I did a bunch of research. I set up all of the accounts and then worked and worked and worked. I had like several jobs and then put all of that money. I would put percentages of everything that I got in those accounts. Man, so organized, peaceful life. And of course, the money starts to accumulate at that point because order is attracted to itself. Wealth begets wealth. Wealth is attracted to itself. So La Negra is saying that it is a big lesson and of the utmost super crucial importance, she's saying, to create, build, and maintain consistent structures that work for us.